Manchester United grabbing a late point with only 10 men having used all the subs, and then seeing Benjamin Sesko get injured. The draw keeps Ruben Amorim's side unbeaten in 5. He's happy with the vibes heading into the 2-week international break.
It's really important because it's that feeling of not going home with a losing feeling. That is really important. But again, my players need to understand that we lose 2 points. The feeling in the end is different, but in my head, we lost 2 points, like we lost 2 points against Nottingham. So we need to win the next game. It's going to be in our home, and we need to. Today we had a different energy if you compare against Nottingham, but it's not enough.
Okay.
We need to have a different energy.
Yeah, I mean, look, you were at the game, Coisty, and that tells you a lot about the change in mentality at Manchester United, doesn't it? You know, in times gone by, not too distant times gone by, they'd have seen that as a good point, a point that they've gained with 10 men, brilliant. But there, Ruben Amorim saying quite clearly, 2 points dropped.
I also think, Jeff, in times gone by, they wouldn't have got the point. I think there's more about them. It's evident there's far more about them. They're miles away from the finished article, has to be said. But they look slightly harder to play against, and they certainly look, I think, better in forward areas. Some good performances. I thought Dorgu played well. I thought Ahmad played really, really well. We've mentioned Cunha and Bouma before. Those two in particular are at this early stage, I think, look 2 terrific new signings. Can handle it. Not even handle it. Look as though they're thriving in that kind of situation. So I think at this early stage, there must be heaps of positives for Manchester United, but still a lot of work to do. But I take your point. They're disappointed at getting the point, but I think maybe, certainly last season, I don't think they're getting the point.
Yeah. Let's get more on this one, shall we now, with the former Manchester United keeper, Ben Foster. Morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben.
Morning, everybody. Great show as always.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, mate. Do you sense that change in attitude at Man United?
Yeah, I think Ali's probably just said everything that needed to be said right there. I only watched the game on the TV, but they look okay. They look like they're playing with a lot more confidence than what they have done for most of this season. But I just think when you sort of contrast it to the quality of Man City, for example, last night, I think it's very evident that there's still quite a way to go still.
See, I think that's in a nutshell, mate. I really do. I think there's definitely been improvements. I think the positivity around Manchester United is understandable, and so there should be. The small steps, but in terms of the large steps needed to get to the likes of the level at Manchester City, which we saw yesterday, they're still they're a good bit away. But I still think Amorim's. I think he speaks really well, Ben. I don't know what you think, and I actually think it was a good piece of ownership coming out and effectively backing him for a couple of years so that everybody knows, and just as importantly, never mind the fans knowing, I think the players knowing that he's going to be there for a while is something as well.
Yeah, I think people just tend to forget that the Premier League's actually really hard, to be honest with you. Like the general quality of the Premier League is really, really hard, and to put a string of games together, we're seeing it all over the Premier League, to put a string of games together where you're winning consistently is really, really hard to do. So sometimes you just have to make sure you don't lose. And I think for Manchester United, they would have lost that game. Earlier in the season, they would have lost that game. They wouldn't have had it about them to go and really search for that equaliser. And that's the bit. I think it's the mentality shift, the mentality change in the players. They're all starting to buy into it now from what the manager's saying. He's been saying it for the best part of the year, in fairness to him. But I think it's finally seeping into the players. And you can see when players play with that belief and that positivity and the confidence, that you get better results for it as well.
I mean, talking of belief and confidence, I think that brings us round to the goalkeeper, Senny Lamens, who I had my question marks about him coming from a club that play in front of small crowds in Belgium to playing, at Old Trafford and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But my word, he exudes confidence, doesn't he? Made a couple of great stops in sort of quick fire time in the second half at the weekend as well. How impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, I'm the same as you, Jeff. I really was. I didn't know what to expect at the beginning. It's a massive step up. You need somebody with a bit of authority, a bit of an aura about them to step into that Manchester United team. But he's done it so far with absolute ease as well. Like you said, he's got this confidence about him. He's coming out for balls into the box, crosses, where I'm thinking, You know, you're normally talking about seriously seasoned Premier League goalies that do this kind of stuff, and he's doing it from the get-go. It still remains to be seen whether he's got the X factors, the little bits that make a good goalie a great goalkeeper. You know, if you look at some of the best goalies in the world at the moment, your Alissons or your Thibaut Courtois, Emi Martinez's, they've got lots of little X factors. There's loads of parts of their game where there's 4 or 5 things that they're world class at. Whether Senne Lammens has got that in his game, like I say, remains to be seen, but it's a fantastic start from it, really is.
It was amazing. I don't know if you saw the highlight. I don't know if he even showed you in the highlights. I think the first 5 seconds of the game, you get one. You get one played back to him, Ben, right? And he let it right. I'm not kidding on. It must have been 10 seconds in it, and he let it right under his foot, right, and it went back for a corner. I'm thinking, like, here we go. But getting back to the point you made, and I know it's really early days, but it is worth mentioning. For the first time in a long time, I just think the centre-backs, whether it's Shaw, Maguire, Yoro, De Ligt, whoever it may be, I think they're looking back and I think they've got a lot more confidence in what they see behind them.
Yeah, without doubt. I think you always have to have that settled back line, even that spine of the team. The more settled it can be, the better it can be. You see with Liverpool, Mamardashvili, who I think is a very, very good goalkeeper. But regardless, when you take a world-class player out of the team, it's going to affect the team. It's as simple as that. But for Man United, just to have that settled sort of spine of a team where everybody knows that person against him, he's played with him the last 3 or 4 games, you start to build up this rapport with each other. But I just think for United, they've been crying out for this goalkeeper now for a couple years, that really steady, solid, dependable goalkeeper. And so far, it looks like they've found it, so the rest of the team can breed confidence off it as well.
Top 4, Ben, is it a possibility?
Oh, Jeff, steady on. No, I just think it's too competitive. I really, really do. I think there's probably 7 or 8 teams. Do you know what? In fairness, there's probably a dozen teams in this Premier League who can realistically beat anybody on their Saturday. Even you go down to your likes of your Brightons and your Bournemouths and all these kind of Sunderland just ripping up trees this season. You just don't know what you're going to get. So I'd say it's where they need to aim. They should be aiming for the top 4, but whether that's a realistic target or not, it's so hard to call it.
Ben, thanks very much.
Thanks, Ben. Have a good week, mate.
Yes, have a good guys. Thank you.
You too,
Bye-bye.
mate.
Bye-bye.
Former Man United goalkeeper Ben Foster. United's first game after the international break. Live and exclusive on talkSPORT. They host Everton at Old Trafford Monday, November the 24th.